Hi, Latoya. I really thoroughly enjoyed your post. I feel like it was very insightful that you used an example of an existing court case that happened in 1976 involving confidentiality. I feel like, in my experience thus far in the human services field, confidentiality has been, for lack of a better word, maybe a slippery slope because, as you mentioned, it's all about building that positive rapport with clients so that they do feel comfortable to disclose things to you, so that they feel comfortable with um, sharing what's going on in their lives and their viewpoints and how they're doing. But within that token, having to uphold a standard for your profession, it can be sometimes a weird line to walk, of just knowing exactly how to go about certain things and reporting things. So when you included the court case, I really felt like that brought your point home of just when specifically when you said that mental health professionals have a duty to protect individuals who are being threatened with bodily harm by a patient. Um, that is a very great example of one of the ways that we as professionals are held responsible to not only protecting the client that we work with, but also protecting others that have to engage with our clients. Personally, I've had experience thus far with mental health skill building in the hospital setting. And so when you mentioned HIPAA, I'm very I don't even want to say very familiar. I'm slowly figuring out HIPAA as I go and like learning different um boundaries, rules and regulations and as my job can pertain to that. And privacy and confidentiality is very, very important within either setting for sure. But I have definitely seen a lot of what you have said come into play where, just an example, you may have a patient who, rather it be the example that you mentioned, or they have some sort of other illness that they're dealing with, having to disclose that to their roommate, having to disclose that to people that they've come into contact with. These are all things that are difficult as the professional because you want your client to feel that you are protecting them, you're protecting their right to privacy. But essentially, this is why, as I mentioned in my post, I find it very important to, upon the very first session, let the client know that you are prioritizing giving them a safe space, but also these are the limitations, these are the things that I will have to report, just so that it's known. Sometimes you kind of have to reiterate those things as they've been in services for a while because they get so comfortable with you that they start sharing more and more things that are very personal. So sometimes I have to kind of, just refamiliarize clients with those rules just so that they know. In addition to that, I know one of our other classmates had mentioned basically stating to the client, like, hey, this is just to protect you. I think another tip is just to explain to the client that in the event that I have to break your privacy and your confidentiality, this is something that I'm mandated to do. This is something that I'm required to do. Just so that not only do they understand that you care about their well-being, but they also understand that certain things are just not, within your control and your right to just not report things because you're risking your ethics and you're risking your position to be able to help them. So, to sum it up, I just feel like you had a very insightful post. I love the example that you mentioned. because I feel like it's very pertinent to what we've been talking about so far in this class. So thank you so much for your post.